The election's on the way. We could be in a recession. We don't have a lot of homes. Interest rates are crazy. Everything is coming to a head in 2024. And as we look in the Atlanta real estate market, there is the potential for things to go crazy. There's also the potential for things to actually go pretty good in 2024. So what are we going to expect? We're going to lay down our predictions for 2024 Atlanta real estate market. Let's do this. How are we doing? This is Steve, real estate agent with the Malone Home Team eXp Realty in the Atlanta market. First off, we got to start out by saying thank you for joining us. If you wouldn't mind liking this, subscribing to the page. That way you get updates whenever we post something. We're going to have some big things coming video-wise coming in 2024. Really excited about it. So be sure to subscribe so you get first updates when that hits. It also helps with all the algorithms and helps us get found so we can help more people 2024, because I think 2024 is going to be a big year in real estate here in the Atlanta area. All right, so first, let's real quick talk about what happened in 2023. All right, I've got 4 predictions, and I'm going to base my 4 predictions for this upcoming year off the 4 predictions from last year, talking about each of the different parts of the market. So we talked about this time last year. All right, my 4 predictions. Number 1 is we topped out on rates at 6.5%. It's kind of where we were. That was way the heck wrong. All right, we got to 8%. The good news is things are improving. Already a lot better, back down to around 6.5, 6.6% right now. We'll talk about my prediction for next year. Number 2, prices are going to steadily go up in Atlanta. This time last year, people were freaked out that the market was going to crash. Home prices are going to go down 10%, and people are still trying to feed you that crap. I'll call it that. Somebody's telling you that home prices in Atlanta are going to go down. They're feeding you a bunch of crap. Okay. Now, in San Diego, in Austin, in some of those up and down markets that go crazy all the time, you could have a big downturn. I can't predict that. In Atlanta, won't chill. All right. Didn't happen this year. Let's talk about what's going to happen next year. Then the demand. Talk about the demand coming back. We're kind of half right on that. Demand came back in the first half of the year. Second half of the year, with the interest rates screaming into the 7s and into the low 8s, buyer demand kind of went out the door in the second half of the year. So we'll call that a push. We were right for half the year. We were wrong for half the year. We'll call it a push. Last one was that this was going to be the slowest year since 2019. It was technically right. It's kind of the slowest year in Atlanta since about 2011, 2012. It was like hella slow. All right. What is it going to look like for next year? We're going to break it all down. So those 4 things, we're going to talk about home prices. We're going to talk about interest rates. We're going to talk about what I think about buyer activity. We're going to talk about all of that stuff. Looked at the numbers, breaking it all down. Here you go. Your big 4 predictions for 2024 election year. And again, because it's an election year, it kind of throws the whole thing out of whack. Could be completely wrong because of that. But buckle up. It's going to be a fun year in real estate. Let's make this happen. Your 4 predictions. All right, let's talk about interest rates first. Okay, interest rates in 2024. We're going to start the year. We're ending this around, we're recording this on December 20th. We're around 6.6% on average for a 30-year fixed. You can get a little bit better, you can get a little bit worse depending on all kinds of stuff. Okay, that's a longer video for a longer time. So where are the rates going from here? We're going to be on a slow and steady decline throughout the entire year. Okay, there's a lot of market forces at play. Some of those there's some padding built into those rates. Typically, there's spreads between the Treasury notes and some of the other market forces, things like that. So even at 6.5% right now, it's probably slightly inflated from where it should be. I'm going to take a prediction that we're going to start the year right around 6.6, which is kind of where we are right now. It's going to be very flat the next 10 days. I don't see anything really happening to move the needle one way or another a whole lot. So that's when we'll start the year. By spring, we could be around 6.3. Maybe by March 1st, we're at 6.3. We're going to get down close to 6. We may be down close to 6 by the beginning of Q4. We could be below 6 as we approach the election. Again, there's a lot of market forces at play. There's a lot of padding in some of those rates that could be taken away and kind of adjusted and things like that, depending on what the market looks like. If you need a little bit of jolt to the economy, that's what could happen, is rates could come down a little bit. So that being said, my official prediction, again, we start at 6.6. We're going to be at 6.3 on March 1st, probably not close to 6 by, we'll say quarter or start of Q3. We could end the year, I'm going to call it 5.8, 5.9%, something like that, okay? That's my prediction for this upcoming year, a slow and steady descent, okay? 10% rates aren't happening. 11% rates aren't happening. Okay, so 10% rate guy who's got your YouTube channel, I see him all the time. Bless his heart, I'm not going to say his name. He's got a gigantic following. I guess if you scare the crap out of people, people like to watch you. So that guy, 10% rate guy, enjoy your channel, but you were way the hell wrong. Will it be to 10% at one point in the future? I don't know. Is it happening this year? All things being equal, no. We're going to be on the slow and steady descent. That's the prediction. Okay, so that's number one. Slow and steady descent on the interest rates. So the question is, what happens because of that? That's number two. So here's my prediction what's going to happen in buyer demand. Now, I'm going to give you that. Last year, we were coming out of the craziness of the beginning of 22. It went completely dead at the end of 22. We had some hope at the beginning of 23, okay? But still, we didn't know what was going to happen. It was kind of crazy. It was a very weird time. There was not a lot of certainty what was going to happen in the market. There were things that we knew were tried and true and kind of leaned on that, and it worked out. But right now, we have a better idea of direction of the market. So that being said, with the interest rates coming down right now, we're already seeing a bunch of buyers jump back in. We're seeing an increase in the number of people who are putting in mortgage applications right now, much higher than we typically see or that we have seen this time of year. It's actually going up instead of going down, okay? Right on New Year's, we're going to see a lot of buyers jump back in. We're going to have a very high buyer demand. Again, not like 2021, 2022, but it's going to pick back up. Here's the thing. As we head towards the end of the year and those interest rates continue to creep down closer to 6%, the lower they go, the more buyers are motivated to jump back in the pool. We're going to see a lot of buyers jump back in. Okay, I saw a really good Rob Sophia, who is is an agent friend of mine in Kentucky. So I'm going to give him props for saying this. So this is perfectly said when you talk about pent up demand, because I think we're dealing with a lot of pent up demand in the world of real estate right now. Okay. If you are in a place that has snowstorms, right, and you're going to go, let's say you're going to go get your eat on at, let's say, Chick-fil-A, all right, or let's say Chick-fil-A, okay, but a giant snowstorm hits. Guess what? You're not going out, right? You're just going to eat some beanie weenie at home or whatever it is that you have at home. You're not going out that night. Chick-fil-A lost the money, okay? People aren't going to have 2 meals tomorrow night. They'll just go have a meal tomorrow night, right? They lost the money, okay? But real estate's different. If somebody wanted to buy a house but interest rates got to 8%, they stopped. But they did not want to buy a house. They're still going to buy the house. So when the rates come down, they're going to jump back in. That's the pent-up demand, okay? Again, Chick-fil-A lost that money because of the snowstorm. Real estate, quote, had the snowstorm. The buyers are just sitting waiting, right? The storm's clearing. They're plowing the roads right now. And everybody's coming back out because everybody wants that house. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's the difference. Okay, so there is pent-up demand. When you have such low volume of deals, which is what we had this year, again, the quietest year in Atlanta we've had since at least 2011, 2012. It could be worse than that when all the numbers are added up. But when you have that kind of pent-up demand, the buyers still want to buy. Sellers still want to sell. They were just waiting for a better time. Better time's coming. I think things are going to pick up. So because of that, as the rates go down, that's going to help that buyer demand to stay high or higher through the whole year. I mean, we had a big drop off this fall because interest rates went back up. I think with the rates steadily going down, I think it's going to keep the buyers engaged all year. We'll have our normal ups and downs seasonality-wise, but I don't think we're going to have the big drop in the fall. So I think because of that, again, buyer traffic is going to be up and stay up throughout the entire year compared to where we were in 2023. That's number two. So based on what we just talked about, number two, buyer demand is going to be slightly higher. I think it goes without saying, this one kind of goes hand in hand with it. I think the number of transactions are going to be a little bit higher this year than they were last year. Okay, so when you look nationally, I mean, we probably have had the slowest year nationally since about 07, 08, since the big crash. Now, because of the lack of inventory, it's kept the home prices up, which is great news. Because you don't want to see home prices crashing on the order of 10, 15% again. But that being said, everybody's expecting next year, even though the rates they're not optimal like they were. I mean, obviously, 5.5 to 6% is not as good as 2.5 to 3%. So people still got to make a move. They got to have a reason to make a move. But it's a more palatable situation for buyers. It's a more palatable situation for sellers. Seller doesn't want to sell their house at 2.5 to 3% and get something at 8%. They don't want that unless they have to do it. Someone's 5.5%, maybe that's different. For that reason, for like we talked about, buyer demand is going to stay up throughout the entire year. We're going to have a higher rate this year than we had last year, or this upcoming year than we had in 23. You know what I mean? I say that to say, when you look at the numbers, when it's all said and done, it's still going to be lower than it was during the pandemic. And we're at the point, I think a lot of realtors get it. I think a lot of buyers and sellers get it too. What happened to during the pandemic was kind of like arena football. If you remember arena football, when they had arena football, they may still have it somewhere, but arena football, every game in arena football was like 80 to 75. It was just crazy because it was a 50-yard field and it was just bananas. I mean, guys could throw 75,000 touchdowns in a game, run for 70, 100,000 billion trillion yards, whatever, right? Arena football. That's kind of what real estate was from late 2020 through about the early part of 2022. It was just arena real estate. I mean, you could just, stand on your head, and sell your house, get 85 offers on to stand on your head. Piece of cake. That's not what it's going to be. So it's going to be up, but it's not going to be like crazy up. But the numbers are going to be up. We're going to be on an order of, like I said, this year was more on the order of like 2012-ish. Next year is going to be something on the order of 2018, 2019. Just a normal year in real estate. I think we're going to have so stronger 24. I think even stronger in 25. We're just going to be strengthening the market from here. We'll see what the economy has to say about that. Everybody keeps talking about a recession. I keep watching my watch to see when the recession is going to show up, and it hasn't shown up yet. Maybe we're already in one. Maybe we'll never get into one. I don't know. I just know a lot of buyers are sitting on the sidelines waiting to buy a house. A lot of investors sitting on the sidelines ready to buy a house. The market's going to keep rolling. So my official prediction for number 3 in Atlanta, we're going to have probably even though 23 will end up being the quietest year since 2012, we're going to be right on par with the numbers that we saw in 2018, 2019 this year, or in 24. It's going to be a better year, more closings, not pandemic closings, but more closings in 24. And then we will round it out with the last one, the one that probably everybody wants to know. Home values. Okay, now, last year, in the face of not knowing what was going to happen, in the face of a lot of people moaning and groaning and whining and predicting that we're going to have this major crash of real estate here in the Atlanta area, major crash nationally, all that stuff. Didn't happen. Okay. Are there areas in the U.S. where we had a drop in real estate prices? Yes. Have they rebounded for the most part? Yes. Okay. There are pockets that are down. On the whole, the market came down and got everything back. Very slight. In Atlanta, we were very flat and we're already up. Not up big. We had a couple years there where we were up 18, 19% every year in Atlanta. Probably an order of like 4 to 5% this year. Probably we're going to end up being maybe 5 to 6%, something like that. I think it's going to be something similar to that in 24. There's a lot of people, and it's funny because, last year you could make the argument that the real estate market was going to crash because blah, 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 and home prices are going to crash and crater and blah, blah, blah. I could see that because nobody really knew what was going to happen. I think everything's a little more laid out. Now, world events happen. Things happen. And it's an election year. So everything is just going to be just crazy in 24. Okay? The news is going to be like this. Okay? People on social are going to be like this. It's just going to be crazy. But when you keep your head down and you focus on what's going on, real estate-wise, when you focus on all the factors, okay, and the big factors are, and it's all supply and demand, we're still behind on the number of homes that we have in the market. Coming out of the 08-09 downturn, the big recession, the big one, we didn't build enough houses for, I'd say 6-7 years to keep up with demand nationwide. Good 6 or 7 years where we were really, really, really slow. It's come back a little bit, but we're back to about average where we should be for a year. We still have not replenished the number of homes that we should have built for those like 5 to 7 years. Because of that, we're behind on homes. I know. I live in Gwinnett County. You can't find a tree that you can't knock down and put up 75 townhouses in Gwinnett County. You know how it is in Gwinnett. But even with all the building that they're doing, we're still behind. on the where all the people need to go, because there's plenty of other places for people to go, things like that. So the fact is we still have low inventory. Okay, that's not going to change anytime in the next 3 to 5 years. So on the supply and demand curve, we still are low on the supply. And low on the demand side, interest rates are coming down, and they're steadily coming down. As we talked about earlier, the snowstorm hit. Everybody's still waiting to go buy the house. Okay, the snowstorm's cleared. We have a pent-up demand. Demand is higher. So supply is still low. Demand is higher. Home prices are going to go up here in Atlanta. Atlanta is also insulated because it's Atlanta. It's a great location weather-wise, climate-wise. We're only, 5 hours from the beach? 4.5 if you're standing on it. We're right near the mountains. We don't necessarily, it gets hot but not crazy hot. It gets cold but not crazy cold. We get a little bit of snow. We get severe weather but not like crazy severe. It's the perfect spot to live in, geographically. Then you add the fact that you got all these businesses here and everything, everybody coming in. It's Atlanta. Atlanta never, ever goes out of style. And it doesn't hurt that we got like the busiest airport in the world. There's a whole bunch of reasons. We're insulated from a lot of the stuff. A lot of the ups and downs we're insulated from because we're in Atlanta. So we're going to go up. I'd say on the order maybe another 5 to 7%. Not crazy, but a little bit better than the average. Average is usually like 4 to 5%. 5 to 7% on home values throughout this year. That's my prediction. Home values are going up. If you own a home, congratulations. It's a great investment. Okay, I know I'm a Robert Kiyosaki guy. You see him over my shoulder right there, and he'll tell you that your personal residence is not an asset. It's a liability, not an asset. I get the technicality of it, but the reality is, if you're going to live somewhere, you may as well pay the mortgage. You own it. Let the prices go up. Because we moved in our house in 2017. You know what's happened to home prices since 2017? Our house is worth twice what it was just 6 years ago. It's a great investment, or it's a great return on our investment. 100%, sign me up. Where do I get 100% back in 6 years in real estate? Okay, they're crazy real estate. It's not going to happen in the next 6 years. But that being said, real estate's a very strong place to be. And Atlanta's a very strong place to have it. If you own homes in Atlanta, congratulations. If you don't, we need to talk to you. We need to get you on the equity train. Okay, so those are my 4 predictions. Let's wrap this thing up in a pretty bow. Last year, looking at what was going to happen, we took a lot of big swings. We really did not know what was going to happen. I've been in real estate since 2017. 17, 18, 19 were decent, we'll call it, they were sellers markets, but they weren't banana sellers markets. They were, good markets to learn in. Then it was 20, 21, 22, which were like a pull your hair out on fire markets till late 22, and then everything fell apart. 23 was kind of a weird year. We're learning all these different markets, all these different things. So at the end of 22, we really did not know what to expect this year. We took some swings at it, like we talked about. What did I have? I had one was completely wrong, one was completely right, and then 2 that were half and half. One was half and half, one I had about 3/4 right. So whatever that score is, I feel very confident. I was not confident at all last year. I feel very confident in our 4 predictions, okay, of what's going to happen. Slightly busier this year. Buyer demand is going to stay up all year because the rates are going to be going down. All right, we're at 6.6. Maybe wobble a little bit up, a little bit down, whatever, but I don't think we get back to 7 or 7.25. If we get back to 7, it's just a wobble, but it comes back down. But I don't think we get back to 8. For a very, very long time. Like I said, my apologies to 10% interest rate guy. You can make your video, though. That'll be fun. What else to talk about? Prices are going up in Atlanta. Okay, there's a real estate crash guy. Sorry. It's a good time to buy a house because home prices are going up. And yeah, it's going to be slightly busier this year. I think that, again, it's not going to be super crazy, but it's going to be a better year. A more stable year this year in real estate. Okay. I think one of the reasons why it's going to be so stable is because there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. There's a lot of international turmoil right now. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on, and elections are coming. It's going to be a nice, quiet 2024 with the election coming. Okay, so again, real estate is going to fade away into the background and just kind of a thing in the back. Not going to really be front burner stuff. We're just going to put our heads down and get to work. Okay, there's a lot of stuff to watch in real estate. There's all the commission lawsuits going on across the country. We'll be talking about that as it goes along. But I think real estate's in a really good spot right now. I don't know if we're going to ever actually end up in a recession or if it's going to be that soft landing that the Fed has wanted to hit. Who knows? I just know there's a pent up demand for houses. So even if there is a recession, every time we've had a recession over the last 20, 30 years, interest rates come down, and that's pushed people back into the market. So even if the recession hits, there's still going to be people buying houses. There's still going to be people selling houses. So that's where we are. What do you want to do real estate wise? Think about your first time home buy. You think about selling to buy something. You think about selling to rent. Think about everybody has a unique situation. Give us a call. Let's talk about your unique situation. There's plenty of people I talk to that when we talk, I say, this doesn't make sense right now. I'd wait. I'd wait to buy till July. I'd wait to buy till August when it's quiet. Or I'd wait to sell till this. The solution is not always sell your house right now. Go buy a house right now. Sometimes it is. I mean, I'm recording this December 20th. I've been telling people since November 20th, once we hit Thanksgiving, get your rear ends out there and go buy a house. Because this is your opportunity to steal a deal. You will not be able to steal this deal in March. Get the deal now, okay? It's going to be different. It's not going to be as good of a time, I think, in March, just because you're going to have a lot of multiple offer situations. I think we're going to get back into that. Again, not like in the pandemic, but it's a seller's market still. It's going to feel like that, okay? So whatever your unique situation is, give us a call. We're going to walk you through it. Again, this is Steve with the Malone Home Team. Don't forget to like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell all your friends about me. We'll talk to you. Bye.